And team that's been keeping up with more than the pace, but more so in the later half of the games, is the Florida Panthers. Over the past week, the Cats have been living high on their homestand. Every game starting with goals going in the back of their net, but ending with rats flying over the stands and onto their rink because, man, they keep on winning and in very strange ways, probably the most unsustainable route I've ever seen in this sport. They're coming back from not just like 1 goal, 2 goal deficits. They're coming back down 3-4 goals. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. They're led from the top out, including Huberdeau's been on a hot streak. Ekblad has been terrific. And of course, their rookie Lundell is looking really solid for the team. So everything's coming up for Florida, and it's just really fun to watch. I got to watch the St. Louis game on Saturday afternoon. That was a great game to watch. I got to see some of the highlights. We talked about it last week with the Washington Capitals, them clawing their way back and winning in regulation. So everything's looking up for the Florida Panthers, and they're finding more ways to win, which is never a bad thing for a team at their in their realm. Question here: are you more or less confident with the Panthers over this past week, finding ways to win, which is a very important thing? Not many teams know how to do this. The Leafs are finding their way now to win games, climbing back. We saw this past weekend. So are you more or less confident in them finding ways to win, or the fact that they're so easy to push over early in games? Evan, I'll go with you, and I'll switch it over to you guys.
Well, look, I'm not like they played great on Saturday versus St. Louis.
Yep, they did.
Russo was a monster. He was making clutch saves for the Blues, and also credit to the Blues overall. Like that, they played a very tight defensive game, a Craig Berube type game, and just got unlucky in the shootout. I can't remember who they played before. I'm trying to remember. They had the game against Buffalo where they came back, and then, oh my God, what was
Washington?
Oh, Washington. Also another great game.
A thriller.
And I think their depth. Look, I was thinking about this before I hopped onto the Zoom. I think they're the most elite team in the NHL, and I think Vegas is second once Jack Eichel is healthy. I just look at this Florida Panthers team. You have Bobrovsky, who's finally, rejuvenated. He's playing really well. You have Spencer Knight in your back pocket, although he's had a couple blunder games. Yeah. It's all part of getting accustomed to the NHL. I don't look at it as an overreaction. I look at it as, look, you have a star. Bobrovsky needs a night off. Barkov's hurt. Duclair's hurt. Those are two key pieces to your team. Barkov's reportedly going to be back tomorrow night, if not Saturday. So that's another great. And you look at that game against St. Louis. Can't remember who it was that scored, but they had a couple they had I believe it was Sam Reinhart who scored, and then 2 fourth liners. I can't even remember their names just because I don't know them. But I mean, like, the depth is scoring for them, and I noticed that in that game against Washington too when they came back. Like, although it was the Huberdeau's and Ekblads that are getting the assists, it was Ryan Lumberg that was scoring. Like, it was the depth pieces that were scoring the goals. So, look, I think right now they are the best chance to give anyone a run for their money in the Eastern Conference, and I think they can really compete with Vegas. And you look at the game that Vegas had last night, a very gutsy win against the Calgary Flames, but that was also depth pieces like Dadonov scoring, William Karlsson's finally back. So I think like those two, if they played in the Cup final, holy shit, I would love that.
Yeah, it's going to be, Florida's got to get there first. They always have the hard time hurdling that first round, and who they face.
They get unlucky with Tampa every time.
Yeah, that is true. Battle of Florida is always a fun one to watch, but I want to see a different style of play. This is the one, although I like it, this is why I kind of asked that question. We always known that this team can score goals at a ridiculous pace. I'd say the best team in the Eastern Conference. You can maybe make an argument for the NHL to score goals. They're probably one of the more highly offensive teams in this game, but it's about playing the shutdown game. I need to see that. That's the one thing that's missing. I'm sure we'll see it because they know what they're doing down in Florida. They got something cooking. The wheels are definitely in motion. They know what's going on. I just want to see a little bit more shutdown wins. That's why I was just a little bit concerned that this team is very easy to knock out like early on in the game, but they're so dangerous once they start rolling and get a couple goals in the back of the net. They're a momentum team. They feed off the inner momentum on their line. So I want to see them just perform a shutdown game and not rely on guys having to worry and scram to score goals. That was the reason why I sort of worded the question that way. I don't know. I want to throw it over to you guys. If you guys don't got much to say, we can move on. But this was a pretty interesting one to see because you don't see many teams week to week doing these stunts and pulling these stunts that the Florida Panthers have. Jared, you got anything to add? And then I'll turn it to you, Adamo.
Well, yeah. So I am a little bit conflicted because it definitely shows something that their defense isn't absolutely shutting teams down as they were earlier in the year. So there's definitely some question marks that could be brought up about how the defense is doing. However, you talk about in the last 2 Leaf games, how I was giving them a lot of credit about how they've kind of fought their way back into games. So you have to talk about that with Florida, as they're, regardless of how they play to start games, they're finding ways to come together as a team. They're finding those winning habits, as Adamo likes to talk about. And really, they're just coming together as a team. And when they have the will to win, it's very hard right now to stop the Florida Panthers. So as much as, yes, I'm going to say I do have a lot of.
Whoa.
What the hell?
Oh boy.
Yeah, was that NASA?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. I don't know what you said.
That was so weird. My mic just started popping in my ear. That was like so. I don't know if you guys could hear that. That was the weirdest thing ever. Oh.
All right.
No, you're good. You're good.
You're good.
You probably can't hear us.
Can you hear us? I don't think you can hear us.
It keeps, but I don't know what the hell just happened. Could you guys hear me again?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
So I don't know. It keeps going in and out. Like it keeps popping up on the screen. Like right now it says Yeti Nano, which is my mic is working. But a second ago, now it says this speaker is being used. It's changing what speaker my audio is coming from. So I don't know why it's doing that, but whatever. Yeah, I think Florida's a great team. I do have a lot of faith in the way that they're finding their ways to fight back into games. It shows a lot of fight in their team, which is something you need come playoff time. I mean, you're not going to have every game where you're starting off 100% on fire. Obviously, you'd like that. But regardless of how you started for the game, you need to be able to fight your way back. And that's something that, at least now in the regular season, they're proving they're capable of doing. I'd definitely like to see more defensive stability. I'd like to see them be able to shut down teams. But I can't criticize them after hyping up the Leafs so much with the way they're able to fight back into games. So I do like to see the fact that regardless of even if they have an admittedly bad game that their coach is going to rip on them for and they're going to work on it in practice, they're still at the end of the day finding a way to steal the 2 points regardless of how they look for most of the game, which is a good thing.
Oh, it's a strong hand to get dealt. Not many teams have the ability to do. The only thing that comes to mind to me, Tampa Bay Lightning. I always stress this because they've been probably one of the more complete teams that we've seen over the past couple of years. Stanley Cups are probably a thing that glimmers in your face, but they have the ability to do both. They can shut you down and then they can score at a rapid pace like the Florida Panthers can. Adapt to that game, Florida. You're a lock for a lot of things if you can keep it going and keep it sustainable. Adamo, do you have anything else to add or before we move on?
You guys pretty much hit on it. I do want to shout out. I think I'd honestly, I'd probably give him the Norris this year. Aaron Ekblad. He's like
terrific.
a point a game.
He's been really good.
He's been really good.
Unreal.
His stats have
it's
been
good
really
for Canada too. Canada's they're going to be stacked on defense. Goaltending not so much, but I'm excited.
But no, to your point, Ekblad definitely stood up once Barkov went out, like offensively.
Oh yeah, he's been fantastic. He's really mobile for a big guy too. Like he's really coming to that.
3 points in 24 games, a plus 21.
Oh my God, wow. Yeah, he's really coming to that offensive defenseman, like first overall pick, hype.
6 points in his last 3 games. Just my God, wow.
Yeah.
Again, production from every end of the ice. That's what you need to be a dominant team in the NHL. They are probably one of the more dominant teams.
Florida will beat Tampa this year if they meet in the playoffs. Florida will definitely. I think Florida could take Tampa in 6 games if they met in the playoffs.
Add that to your clip list, baby. That is not bold, but I want to see if it comes to fruition. Like that's interesting.
Yeah, like Tampa just lost. Tampa lost a lot of a lot of their depth pieces that like Blake Coleman and Yanni Gord that helped them win the past 2 years. They don't have them anymore, and I really like the additions that Florida had. I think it could go. I think Florida can win in 6.
I'd love to have this conversation when we hit the road a little bit later in the season, see what's going on down there. But I think we'll just put the icing on the cake here, put the bow on it, and send it in the mail.